How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the last preview Fourever Arsenal of the season. It feels like the season's over already. To be honest, the season is over already. There's still a game to play. Apparently, it's still a golden glove to fight for, in Arteta's words. Southampton away on Sunday. We will predict it. We won't talk much about it. But this one's about player ratings. Why? Why don't we till game week 38 and let the season finish? Havertz might score a hat-trick on the final day. It might improve his ratings. People, that final day is the start of preseason. Yeah, so whatever happens from Sunday onwards, couldn't care less. It doesn't apply to player ratings. So we're going to get into it all. List off the names, and obviously in the comment section, you lot obviously give us your thoughts, your opinions, your top threes maybe, rather than going through the whole list. Big up James, Lee, Jordan, as always, in the building. How are we feeling anyway? I mean, it does feel like the season's over already, right? Is it just me?
Yeah, and it has been for a while.
Yeah.
You know, well, you're not interested in lifting that golden glove?
Well, I mean, I've got my replica version on its way here for the set. But other than that, you know what it is? I don't want to pretend things like the golden glove just don't matter, and that winning another game of football don't matter at all. Yeah, and I the preview that's going to come on AFTV, people will see that's very much my demeanor, and I probably should change that a little bit. I think the reality is that sometimes your thinking is forced, and what I mean by that is my thinking towards this season became way more apathetic after January. My thinking also changed when I saw the heavy rotation in the league, though we could understand that, how far we fell off Liverpool. And now my thinking is actually altered by how many transfer reports are coming out. It's almost like even Arsenal trying to control the media and the narrative in a way of we are now getting on with this. Even we internally acknowledge that this is done and we need to focus on the new. I mean, every day there's a new report about Sesko and Gyökeres. Every day there's a new report about Rodrigo. Every day there's a new Berta wants this. Arteta's looking at that. This is the goalkeeper situation. You know, that it naturally takes you out of the season. And it plunges you into preseason and transfer stuff. So sometimes your thinking can kind of just be warped into that. I don't know how to explain it. We are literally in the middle of the season, and there are 4 clubs in the Premier League doing big business already, from Liverpool to City to Arsenal to Man United. That's really not normal. We're used to fast starts, but never with 3-4 games to go, which is what we've had. So I don't think we can really help it, but just feel completely let's just get on with the summer and forget.
I've been a little bit done since January, really.
I've been half cooked since.
To be really honest, the Champions League, what happened there sort of covered that. But you imagine if we'd have gone out to Real Madrid or, dare I say, even PSV, I think there would have been a lot more discontent. I do think the Champions League has covered 1,000 sins this season.
And down the road. That's what the Champions League did. The can was kicked down the road a few more weeks, closer to the end of the season.
I felt very let down by the club with because I genuinely still believe that in January we had a chance. I still believe that. I look at Liverpool, been fantastic, but they had no pressure put on them. If we'd have put the pressure on them like Man City put pressure on us, what would have happened? Would have they cracked? We don't know. They might not have. But we never even. We just give up in January. The club give up. And I think the way I feel about January, I wonder if a few of the players felt like that as well, let down by it all. I don't know, but that's how I feel. Can't wait for the season to. The season's finished for me anyway. I'm on holiday after a day, but the season's finished for me.
Yeah,
finished for me.
All right, well, might as well just get straight into it. Jordan, you all good?
Yeah, so I was on the wrong mic, but I'm back on.
No. That's nothing new there, is it? You on the right pod?
End the season the way you started, Jordan. Serious.
It's unreal. The guy is unreal.
Oh, you're on the right show. It's so rude.
The right pod. Oh shit! This is meant to be fucking the coolest disabled. What's going on?
What, Fourever Spurs?
Please do not mention that word.
I know. I forgot about that for a few minutes, and now he's fucking. Yeah. Now I'm about to flip. This is what I'm saying. This is what this pod can do. Let's do player ratings. Go on.
No, go.
We can only start with goalkeeper. There's only one to really rate. Setford didn't get much game time, if any. And Neto, my God, the less said about him, the better. But yeah, David Raya, out of 10, we're going to do it. Who wants to start?
Go on, you start.
David Raya, I'd say one of our players of the season. I'd probably put him top 3, top 4 overall. He's had his moments, especially the second half of the season. Has his moments cost us? No, but they were still funny moments, whether it be on the ball, giving it away a bit cheaply. But I think his saves throughout the season have stood tallest, in my opinion. And he really kicked on from the first year. Ramsdale back and forth. Is he better? Is he not? Is it the fine margins? I think he made it official this season pretty early on. He added the saving side of things that Ramsdale kind of did have on top of his ball playing ability. So overall, I'm going to give Raya, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10.
Agreed. Do you know what? I mean, completely up to you guys, but yeah, maybe each one kind of takes a player as we go around. And if there's anything we want to add, we can add. But I've got nothing to add to that. I completely agree. And it's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a good idea, James. 8 out of 10 for me. The one thing I will say about him is, for me, his season has been really, really good because he's changed my perception of him. I want a lover of him. You know what I mean? Like, I think because of the Ramsdale thing, I was more Ramsdale.
Yeah.
It's
hard when you haven't met David's dad, to be fair.
Yeah, it's hard when you've not met family and things like that. But I just think that the way he's played this season has completely won me over. And that, you know what I mean? That was never going to be easy, if I'll be really honest. And he's done it. And he's done it fantastically well. I think he's been fantastic this season.
I'll go as far as to say, I agree with you. When we signed him, in those first 4 or 5 months, I wasn't convinced we'd signed a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale. Yeah. I saw where his strengths were. I saw what he did that Ramsdale didn't, but I wasn't convinced that when you added shot stopping, like in character in big games, which Ramsdale had, I didn't really know. And he's swung that to a point of me now going, no, I think we have one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
Yeah,
I really do think that. And that's why with this Garcia stuff, unless you really convince him he can be number 2, I don't think we need to be messing that position anymore. Let the guy keep growing in that position. So yeah, I'm delighted with him.
My 2 pence. I agree. I think it's an 8 out of 10 for me as well. He's probably my pick for Arsenal Player of the Year. I think he's made some insane saves this season. I remember I think it was the Wolves game on game 2 or game 3, where you guys were like going crazy over a double save that he made, and I was a bit like, it's a good save, but you guys are doing the most. I stand by that, but he's done that and more over the course of the season. I think he's been brilliant. I think, as you say, David, I think bar Alisson, he is the best goalkeeper in the league. I think Sells probably gets in the team of the year. I think Sells has just pipped him. Even if David Raya gets the Golden Glove, I think Sells just pips him this season. But I think David Raya's at the point now where I only think Alisson's better than him, and I'm a big Edison fan, as you all know. But I would probably take Raya now over Edison. He's kicking in the last couple of months, I think, has been quite poor. He's tailed off a little bit in the last 5 or 6 matches, his form. But I think over the course of the season, I think he's been brilliant. There's been so many games we've drawn that, for me, without a save or 2 from him, we lose. There's games that we've won without saves from him that we would have drawn. And I think those are things you easily forget when you win a game 3-1. That when it was 1-1, he made 2 saves that kept it 1-1. Do you know what I mean? So, or when we were 1-0 down, he made another save and it could have been 2-0. So, he's probably just my player of the year for Arsenal. He's our number 1. It's the one position that I think we don't need to do anything in. I think we're set now for a number 1. When was our last good number 1? When was the last time we had a number 1 we were all like, yeah? Go back to Neyman.
Ramsdale.
No, but I do think Ramsdale, to be fair.
I thought he was great.
I liked Ramsdale.
Ramsdale
ever in the conversation is like one of the top keepers in Europe.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Nobody wanted Ramsdale.
I did think at one point in Ramsdale we had the best keeper in England. I did at one point.
So did I.
Pickford, but
so did I.
Maybe I was wrong.
Anyway,
8th across the board. We started well. We've all agreed. Yeah, James is right. I think we'll make it a more Forever Arsenal rating. So if there are different ratings, I might average it out at the end and pass it on to socials if they want to put it out there. I don't know. All right, let's move on to fullbacks and let's start with Ben White. Hasn't played many games. Started 12 games throughout the season.
Yeah.
A hit with injuries throughout. Anyone want to kick off with a rating?
6 out of 10 for me. I love Ben White, but he's not. He's come back. He's not the same Ben White. He's been injured most of the season. Look, I admire him for playing through pain and everything like that, needing all that. Like, big season for him next season, but he's not quite got nowhere near the heights of his last couple of seasons.
I admire the injury thing completely. There's no question he played through a lot of injury. And by the way, I think a fully fit Ben White isn't necessarily behind Jurrien Timber. I think what he offers going forward still is an asset to this team. But for me, it's a 4. I think, and it's not his fault. I just think if you're asking what have we got from the player this season, not his fault. Obviously had surgery. Don't think he started the season great, but now we kind of know why. And he's actually been back and available for a good 3 months, guys, I think. I do think it was back in Feb that he kind of got back with the team, and clearly they had to take their time, but I don't think it's been a good campaign for him. Now, that's not his fault. It's just the nature of it, and I don't want to be too harsh, so I'm going to go 4.
It's a 5 from me. I think he's been average. There's been some poor performances from Ben White this season, but as I think Lee said, I think you have to factor in that last year he was blatantly playing through an injury, and that has impacted, I think, his momentum this season. Ben White's a brilliant fullback, but it's a low rating. But I don't totally blame him for his poor performances. I think as a club, we have to, if next year's title or bust, we have to really look at that right back spot, because I'm concerned that he may not be the Ben White going into next year that we had 2 years ago. And if Timber also, we'll get to him in a minute, I'm sure, but do we have a locked in right back that is good enough and fit enough to play 35 out of 38 games? I don't know if you can put your hat on Ben White or Timber now to say, yeah, there's 35 starts there for either of them. So I think we have as a club to look at the right back spot. But yes, it's a 5 from me. He's been average for me, no better, no worse.
Yeah, I put 5 down. Bang in the middle, because like James said, injuries have been the reason behind it. That's out of his hands, and part of the reason for the injury is because he put in so much work for 2 years. So I'm not going to use that against him, but this season, he, when he has returned, he just hasn't quite looked himself. Again, slightly expected on my part, so I'm just going to say 5. It's kind of a default for me. It's not above average, it's not below average. It's taken into account the context around it. So overall, a couple 5s, 1 4, 1 6. So I think it lands at 5 out of 10 for the Forever Arsenal.
Yeah. Can I just add one more line on him? I would love to see more football from him at centre back. I think we can rotate the likes of Saliba, who's looked tired, and get Ben White at centre back more at times. That ball he played over the top for Saka's goal against Liverpool, do you remember at the Emirates?
Yeah.
He's got that in his locker. First season, he was doing a lot of that ball in behind. So I want to see more of that.
Yeah, that was a ball actually off the top there. Next up, Jurrien Timber, right back slot now. Jurrien Timber. Who are we kicking off with for this one?
I'll go first on Timber. I would give Timber a 7. I think he's been very good without being outstanding. I think he's had some brilliant performances. He's had lots of 8s or 9s out of 10 performances in this season, but I think if I'm averaging it out over the season, I think it's a 7 out of 10. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's proven to be one of the hardest defenders to get past. He reminds me a lot of Aspilicueta in the sense of one-on-one, he's just hard to get past. He defends. Like, a defender's job is, you can't get past me. You're not getting past me. Forget on the ball. Forget in the... You're not getting past me. One-on-one, try your luck. And he's one of the best in the league at just one-on-one defending. And I rate it so highly. I think offensively, I think there's more he needs to bring to his game. I think he's a threat aerially from set pieces, but I think in open play going forward, I think that lets him down quite a bit. And he's had to be fair, done a few shifts at left back. right back. He's clearly not back to his full fitness, but after a year out of an ACL, to play the amount of minutes he's played, I've got to rate him highly. So it's a 7 for me.
Do you know I nearly gave it a 10, which is
Ooh.
nuts. I'm going to go 9 because I agree about the going forward thing. I just think, guys, for me, he shouldn't. I kind of every word you've said, Jordan, I agree with. Only I just value that slightly higher. He shouldn't have been doing what he's done off an ACL and played this amount.
It's been incredible, James. It's been incredible.
And doing it against the players he's been doing it on every stage, whether it be the home games, it's not like he switches off. You don't look at him and go, come on, you're not concentrating for this one or whatever. I can't think of a goal that's his fault. I can't think of a game where having him was a problem. And I can think of every big stage he stepped up. And I always go back to that Kvaratskhelia-Doué battle in the first game, especially at home, because I thought in Paris he was amazing against them. But at home, people said he got cooked. And I went, look, they gave him a really good battle. But I think they would tell you that they struggled against him too. They just were so good. It was a really good battle. And I'm in awe of what this guy has done this season. And I can only thank him for it, to be honest, because he shouldn't have played this much football. And you can see now that there's nothing riding on the season, that he's been pulled straight out. He's even gone and had surgery. So I'm just like, I can't. There's no player in the squad I'm more grateful to right now, actually.
To come back and produce the standard after that injury is nothing but amazing. I have to say, amazing. To play the games that he's had. Obviously, they've patched him up on many occasions this season because of players like Ben White were injured, Tomiyasu, you know what I mean? And realistically, he's been flogged to death as far as that's concerned. But 8 out of 10 for me. I just think that he's been outstanding. I'm not giving great marks to our defenders, and I'll tell you why at the end of it. But 8 out of 10, I think, has been outstanding for us.
So Jordan, you went 7, right?
Yeah.
Lee's gone 8, James has gone 9. I'm more with James. I think the closest to a 10-10 season, in my opinion.
9 is like almost perfect.
I struggle to think of imperfections.
Yeah, same.
We could ask for maybe more of the attacking side, but honestly, our best 3-game patch this season, and stop me if I'm wrong, but our best 3-game patch in terms of actually liking what we're seeing was Nottingham Forest, Sporting Lisbon, and West Ham. 3-0, 5-1, 5-2. And in those 3 games, it wasn't just Odegaard returning with Saka. Timber was picking up spaces in the attacking box, and that was a big part of the reason we was playing so good. And then all of a sudden it stopped. So I think there is more to unlock with him on the attacking side. Not that he's great in terms of on the ball in the attacking side, but as a presence, as someone who's confident enough to take it in the half spaces, I think that I've seen enough in that mini patch to say, okay, Arteta's asked you to defend first, to maybe lock a man down or lock an area down, and you've done that. In my opinion, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 majority of games this season. I struggle to think of one below 7. So for me, 9 out of 10, and my player of the season, if I'm honest.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I think he's mine too, but I could change my mind every day.
All right, well, I'll average that out 7, 8, and 2 9. So far, up to just above 8. Let's go to the other fullback position, and let's start with the player we thought was going to be our left back for the majority of the season, having come in from Bologna in the summer. But injuries have curtailed that integration. Ricardo Calafiori.
I may as well go first, Italian tax.
Go on.
10.
What are we saying? 5 out of 10 is fine, and I don't think it's been a fine season. I think I'd give it a 4. Honestly, guys, all bias aside, I think there's a really talented footballer here. I really believe that. But there's been injuries. And do you know what's really surprised me? And I think I said this on a pod a few weeks ago. Not the player I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be really dependable defensively. I thought in possession, it was going to be his passing and his roaming that would do something for us. Actually, been the opposite. He's been weak defensively. I think in the one-on-ones, maybe positionally he's all right and in the air. But when it comes to one-on-one battles with fullbacks, I think Lewis Skelly has really, really outshone him in that sense. And also on the ball, he's not really an inverting, get on the ball type, fullback. He's actually more, he's closer to Kieran Tierney. He's closer to a marauding up and down. I'll get on the end. He scored some big goals. I'll get on the end of a big moment. And I actually really like that. I think there's something he can give us from left back and centre back in that sense. So I think there's a talented player there. I'm excited to see him fully fit, but with the injuries and the lack of real contribution and the fact that ultimately the left back spot wasn't taken by him as a £40 million signing, it's a 4 out of 10, and I actually think I'm being fairly kind. What do you guys think?
I'm with you on that. I'm a 4 out of 10, but I've seen good moments. Goal against Man City. Was it the assist at PSV? Was it? I think if I remember. I've liked.
Did he score against PSV when Erdegaard played him in behind?
He did.
Yeah,
that's a great finish. Wolves, he won us the game at Wolves. Yeah,
yeah. I've seen glimpses of him, and I think, I do like. I quite like you as a player. Quite like his the way he goes about the game, but injuries have just messed up what it's always a difficult season coming in. So, I think there's a player. I'm with you, James. I do think there's a player there. A lot of people have been very critical of him, but I'm not. I do think there's a player there, but it's just not happened for him this season. When it looked like it's going to happen, he's got injured again. So frustrating would be the word.
Yeah. I am concerned about the injuries, guys. There's been a lot of injuries for him this season. As Lee says, he's come back and then he's pretty much out again straight away. I hope it's not a Vermaelen type scenario. Good defender, but just can't stay fit. That first year we had Thomas. Do you remember that first year? I think he got 6 goals in that first season. He was a beast.
I was like in top corner from 25 yards.
Yeah, finally. We've got our guy, and then he got injured and just couldn't stay fit again. I just hope it's not that again, because the guy's talented. I don't want to see him at left back ever again, unless we've got like some massive dearth of left backs. I think we saw against, who was last week? Newcastle.
Yeah,
I think we saw at Newcastle. He needs to be our third choice centre back behind Gabriel and Saliba, in my opinion. If those two are injured, he should be the first off the bench, the first one in to cover the centre back. He's a centre back. I don't think he's comfortable at left back. I think he does a job at left back, but I don't think we get the best out of him at left back. To be fair, getting up and down, as James said, offensively for sure, he's been a bit of a weapon.
Like he came on against PSG and made a difference, right, Jordan? You remember that cross?
He did. You're right.
And you go, well, a bit of endeavour. He can inject that into the team. There's no question.
He gives it all. He gives it on the ball. He's not bad. I just don't think he's brilliant at it. I think he's a very good centre back. I think his reading of the game. I think he's combative. And I think that's where we should be utilising him. So even if it means he plays 10 less games, but we get more games out of him at centre back. So for FA Cup, drop Saliba. League Cup games, just go Kiwior and Calafiori. That's a partnership that still is probably able to handle most attacks in the Premier League and beyond. So I would give him a 5, but because I've seen things that make me think this is a guy that can contribute to a Premier League winning team. I think he's been misprofiled and misused, but the injuries for me are a slight concern.
Yeah, I was leaning towards 4. You make some good points. I gave White a 5 average. I think Calafiori has some good moments. He's got 2 of our best finishes this season. One against City. I forgot the other one. Got over it.
Wolves.
Wolves. Yeah, that one. Yeah. People will argue that's not what he's here for, but at the same time, that is something I've seen that in modern day football, when you got defenders that can get up front and have an effect in the final third, it's a big asset to have. On the flip side, at left back, I've seen him turn too easily. I've seen him get dragged in a bit, like Kiwior did against Sane against Bayern last year. Bit nervy with him as a left back, but very intrigued by him as a centre back. I'm gonna say overall 4. He came in the season as our star signing in the summer, and he leaves it back up to an 18-year-old. I know it sounds harsh, but that is the reality of it. So I can't give him more than a 4. So 3 4s and a 5. So just over 4 out of 10. That teenager, Lewis Skelly, he's next up on the list. I'm interested to hear people's ratings on him.
I want you to take this, Turkish, because nobody was talking about him more after pre-season. There was so much said about one area, and rightly so. But I remember sitting next to you in Philadelphia, and you went, "This Miles kid is no joke." So I think you deserve to take the floor on this one.
Yeah, I just saw something about him on the pitch, the way he wanted the ball, where he wanted the ball, how he received the ball, how he moved with the ball. And listen, that's just pre-season and it's a teenager. So at that time I was thinking, oh, that's nice to know we've got a little gem there maybe to come through in a few years. Lo and behold, a few months later, his chance comes. And I think, where did I say it? We done a end of season something just yesterday that will be out soon. When I look at Lewis Skelly and every obstacle he's had to face, because there are obstacles, your step up into the first team off the bench against Liverpool City, it's an obstacle. Get over. Your first starts in the league, get over it. Champions League, get England international. He's leaving this season as Arsenal's first choice left back at 18, England's first choice left back with the new manager Tuchel, who there's dreams of a World Cup win next year. I mean, how can I rate him any lower than a 9? And even that, I feel he's close to a 10 as well for me. This is context involved. I know he hasn't started as much as Timber. He hasn't been as ever present as Timber. He's only started 14 in the league, but he's played a further 7, 8 off the bench. But I just think when you consider there was nothing expected of him, not many people even heard the name. Everyone thought Ranieri was the next up from the academy. We've got ourselves a gem in Lewis Skelly, and like the Real Madrid performance, for example, to stand up both home and away. Now, I know there's moments against PSG, but that should make him a better player. In the summer, I also met his mum on the flight back, and very humble,
there we go.
But Lee, if shit hits the fan and he starts letting in goals like Ramsdale did, I don't care who I met, mate. You'll see there ain't no there won't be no holds barred. But yeah, he's come from a good background. That has kind of shown itself across the season as well, because even his mum Marcia is doing great stuff outside of football and whatnot. So I think we've got a talent there. Love him. I'm gonna give him a 9. I'm gonna give him a 9 out of 10.
I'm with you. He's my player of the season. My player of the season. I just think that he's come in and he's just been absolutely sensational. Sensational. I love the way he bounces off the players. I think he can play in different positions. He's not scared to take the ball in difficult situations, which is never easy. If you play football, you're scared to lose it in certain areas. He's comfortable on the ball. I just can't, you said it all really, Turkish. I just think he's been sensational. Sensational.
I had a real lot to say about him on the piece of end of season content vid coming out. So I'll leave it for there because I really said everything I wanted to say. And I echo everything Turkish has said. So I agree. 9. Him and Timber, they were the two for me that set a particular standard with maybe David Raya.
Yeah, the levels were just mad. But sorry, Jordan.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. I echo everything you said. It's an 8 from me. I think the boy's been brilliant. I don't think he's quite played enough games to be in the 9-10 category.
I do hear that point.
But when he has played, he has operated at a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 more times than not. So it's kind of warped because the games are quite low, but the ratings in those games are very high. So it's an 8 from me. All I would say about Lewis Skelly, I agree with everything you said, Turkish. This summer's a big summer. And I mean, in terms of the preseason, it's his breakthrough year this season. This is the summer now where you get your head down and you get in the gym. And I don't necessarily mean get in the gym to bulk up and get whammed, but this is the summer now where physically you're able to, because we need him to play 90 minutes, maybe 50 times this season. His body now has to be able to be the body that can actually, I don't want to hear an excuse from Arteta that he didn't play this game because he's not quite ready yet. He's still a young boy, which I think might be part of the reason Ranieri's been managed. And I'm being kind here, but these are still young men. They haven't got the bodies to manage men's football 3 times a week. So this is the summer where you get your mind right, you get your body right, and you recognize there's a World Cup coming up in America. If I lock down my Arsenal spot, I'm up against Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell. Let's have it right. There's I can eat.
But yeah.
And Hall, but and Hall's good. I actually like Hall.
Yeah.
But the point is, there's no one that's locked down that left back spot. I could be the left back at 20 years old for England. Do you know what I mean? So this is the summer now where he has to use what's been a very good breakthrough year And next year's got to be the year where we're not talking about him being the kid breaking in. No, he's Arsenal left back. We don't chat about it anymore. He's the left back for Arsenal. That's my spot. Calafiori, whoever's the left back is, Kiwior, you're my backup now. You're my backup. I'm not your backup. You're coming into cover for me when I can't play Champions League games. So it's an 8 for me. But the kid, I can't talk highly enough about him.
Yeah, we could go on. Seriously, we could go on. Definitely. This season. I mean, look, 2 England games, 2 clean sheets, and a goal. So I think he's locked down that spot as much as you can in 2 games. But
to lose.
3 9s and 8. So that lands on an 8.5. I'm going to say, rather than the 8.25s or 8.75s. We'll just round it. Saliba up next.
I'd like to take this first because I, again, repeat something I said on another end of season content, but I feel that his season is actually going to be quite underappreciated. I know there's a couple errors against Palace and Real Madrid, but I actually thought he was extraordinary against Real Madrid in both games. I thought he was extraordinary against PSG away in particular. And I think his season has been very, very, very good. I think we're talking about one of the best centre-backs in the world. So actually, I think any other player could have had his season and we'd have had more to say about it because it's Saliba. We kind of expect it. But having said that, by his standards, I'll give it a 7. But that 7 is someone else's 9.
Yeah.
I think I don't want this guy to go underappreciated at any moment he's at Arsenal, unless he genuinely goes through a bad patch. This is a serious footballer.
7 out of 10 for me. Exactly what James has said is exactly what I was thinking. It's because he set himself a standard of 8, 9 every season. He's not quite at that standard, but he's still a very, very good season. 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, he's a defender. His mistakes will be magnified because he usually coasts through games. And when you coast through games as a centre-back at the highest level, that means you're a top defender. So it's like it's a double-edged sword. So I'd probably say 7 as well. Yeah, Jordan.
Same 7 for me. James, I agree with Lee. James has nailed everything I was going to say. I think you're conflicted because you don't want to be unfair and give him a low rating based off of things that are quite minor. But equally, because he's so good, I'm looking at him to be the best centre-back in world football in 2 years' time. And to be the best centre-back in world football, it's those mistakes against Madrid that didn't hurt us, but in another game could. It's those little kind of bits of sloppiness you can't do. Think of the best centre-backs in world football over the last 10, 15 years. In their peak seasons, you could maybe count twice over a whole year errors they made, if that. So we're judging him, we're being very, very harsh, but I'm judging him maybe unfairly, differently to how I would judge Kiwior, because Kiwior can't do the things that Saliba can do. So I'm going to be harder. I'm a big believer in the saying, those in society that can carry the burden should do that. Those that can do more should do more. And I think because he can do more, I'm going to hold you to a different account. That might be unfair, but I'm with a 7. But I want to see him this summer really double down on what's been a very good season. And I agree. The first leg against Madrid, that James said, against Madrid, went under the radar because of what Declan Rice did, because how good Saka played, because of what's his name's goal, Merino's goal. But I just thought that one of the best players on the pitch that day was Saliba. But because we've come accustomed to him just handling business, we don't talk about it. But he was brilliant in that game with a new centre-back partner. But that needs to be the norm. That just needs to be the norm now. So those little things I want him to iron out this summer to be the new guy next year. Forget Van Dijk. Next year, the challenge is you're the guy that everyone says is now the best centre-back in the league. And I think he can do it. So, yeah, 7 for me.
Great. That's a great point. Look, he did lose Gabriel as well, his main partner, and his standards are still very, very high.
Yeah, 7's good. Don't need to work that one out. Gabriel. And one thing about it, you never used to be a whole at the end of a season. Adams was better than Sol this season, or Sol was better than Adams this season, or Toure was better than Sol this. We never used to do that as much as we do now. And the common consensus has been Gabriel's been the better of the two. But rather than do that, I mean, Gabriel in his own right, I think as his trajectory over the last few years, I think we all knew Saliba was what he is, having come in. He just had to get the game time, get the consistency, and prove it. Whereas Gabriel came in very raw, under the radar, had deficiencies, but worked well with Ben White, and then since partnering up with Saliba, grown, and this season, both in our box and the opposition box, he's been vital for Arsenal Football Club. So I'll just kick off with a 9 out of 10 for him as well.
Yep.
It's for me, it's another 7.
Okay.
And the reason why I would say 7 is because he's missed the last part of the season, and that's not his fault. That's not his fault. But when Real Madrid came knocking, Saliba was there. Do you know what I mean? When there was any kind of flailing possibility of trying to catch Liverpool, Saliba and Kiwior were the ones that were there. Again, it's harsh because of the work he did before that. He was probably he's been our best centre back this season. You could say big goals, big goals, but defensively he's definitely improved as well. But I don't think you can excuse the fact or get around the fact that the last 2 months of the season he wasn't there. He just wasn't there. So it's a 7 for me.
I feel like it depends how pedantic you want to be about am I rating the season he had, or am I rating his performances through the season? Now that's so pedantic. His performances have been a 9 or a 10, but the season he's had, it will be a killer for him that he wasn't there for the only big part of the season we had. Him not being a part of the Real Madrid stuff is not his fault. My word, the poor guy, the minutes he's played, that hamstring injury, I feel so sorry for him. But it plays a part, doesn't it? That he missed that bit. So I'm gonna say an 8, but I think his performances were near a 9 or a 10. So I'll go 8. And it's so hard. It's so harsh. I know.
Yeah, I'm with you, James. It's an 8 out of 10, and if he'd have stayed fit, it'd have been my player of the year.
Yeah. I think that's exactly where I am.
I thought he was outstanding. You know what I mean? In both areas of the field, forward and attack. And to be honest, I think we've missed him more as an attacking option than we have a defensive option, and that's how good he's been. It's incredible. From that point. But I think that he's been the standout for me. The reason that I'm a little bit reluctant to go 9s and 10s, 9s and 8 with the defence was because Raya has been probably, and a lot of people are saying he's been our best player behind that defence. It shouldn't be. He shouldn't be as busy as what he has been. So I think individually, some fantastic performances, but as a unit, not as good as what they should have been.
I gave Lewis Skelly a 9. And Lewis Skelly missed he didn't play the first half of the season.
Yeah, I know. But I just think, maybe because it's his first season, he's just blown us away. And
he had to grow into it, didn't he? It's a different circumstance.
That's part of it. But listen, Gabriel has been the best defender for me this season. If he'd have stayed to the end of the season, I think he would have tipped it over Timber, in my opinion. I love him, and I think that he because of Saliba, he doesn't get a little bit like Martin Keown did. You were saying earlier on, like Martin Keown was a very, very good. Never got the plaudits of Tony Adams, and I think that's the same with Gabriel. But I appreciate what he does, and I tell you what, you wouldn't want to come up against either one of them. The physical side and whatever, So, and he's got pace, and I tell you what, Turkish, you said something there. He has improved. He's improved on the ball as well.
Yeah,
he has. And I don't know how important this even is. Probably not important at all. But of all the players, maybe bar Saka, you really feel like he loves Arsenal Football Club. You really feel like when he goes to the fans, when he does it, it's not performative. It's not. You get the sense that if he had to leave Arsenal, it would really hurt him in a way that if Saliba left Arsenal, it would. It might hurt him, but it just feel like Gabriel's like our guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm explaining it correctly, but it feels like that. I don't know. As a fan, I really resonate with Gabriel more than I do Saliba in that sense, because it feels like this is his club, especially as a foreign player as well. It's not like he's from North London, or he's not Jack Wilshere, who kind of is from London and kind of gets it. this is a foreign player that's come here, and I think he gets Arsenal. And whether that equates to him playing better or worse, probably it doesn't really matter either way. But I just feel that's my guy.
But I have seen Saliba lose his head in a celebration. So like I have seen
right.
when we score a goal, Saliba goes nuts. I mean, that guy loves the goal. So I will say that. But you know what, guys? I think the reason we spend so much on defenders is because they have been the positive for everything we've said. I think once again, it's the defenders we look back on and go, "Thank you for your services."
Jobs.
Like,
I'm trying to avoid getting to the attack, but we're gonna have to get there.
Yeah, but 40 minutes in, we haven't done bloody Kiwior yet.
We missed
so to round up on Odegaard, it's a 5. Right, thanks for the pod, guys.
we can rush it through. We missed Gabriel more in the attacking third than we did Havertz. Work that one out. Sorry, Lee. Yeah, let's do
No need.
Yeah. Kiwior, last defender on the list, and I think very worthy mention. Deserves to be on the list. Deserves to have a rate.
I think he's come in and been absolutely outstanding.
It's an 8 for me as well. Yeah.
It's just I can't. We haven't really missed Gabriel as a defending side of it. We haven't his attacking side, not defending. I think considering what people are going, we've got Kiwior. I think he's been nothing but sensational.
Lee, I'm with you, Lee. It's an 8 for me as well. And I've defended Kiwior so much before he came into the team, whilst he's been in the team, because this idea that because he's not Saliba or Gabriel, no team has 4 Salibas. No team has 4 Gabriels. You need squad players, and they're squad players for a reason. They're not quite good enough to play for a top team, but when they come in, they do a job. Kiwior's come in and done a job. Is he immune from errors? No. Has he made mistakes and messed up? 100%. But there's a reason why he's our 4th choice centre back, in my opinion, and not 1st or 2nd. He's not quite good enough to start for Arsenal, but when he comes in for 5-6 games, he's done a job, and a very, very good job at a time when our best defender he's replacing, but also in a time when we have Real Madrid. He was brilliant in those two games. So for me, I'm giving him an inflated score because I think he's gone beyond his level. Yeah. He's gone beyond his level, whereas Saliba, I think, is actually slightly below his level. So I've been harsher on him. It's an 8 for me. He's done his job.
What I mean.
Squad man, come in, do your job, and get out.
We're judging what we expected to what we got, and I agree. That's why. Has Saliba been better than Kiwior this season? Absolutely. But when you're looking at kind of my expectations, their role in the squad, I had Kiwior down as 6th choice centre-back at one point. I honestly think fully fit. I think Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Tomiyasu, Ben White, and Jurrien Timber were maybe all ahead of him to come in at centre-back over Kiwior if everyone were fit. And he's coming in and been brilliant. One message to Arsenal Football Club. Don't sign another fucking left-back. Don't do it. You got Lewis Skelly. You got Calafiori. You've even got Kiwior who can go there. Keep Kiwior. Convince him he's going to get some proper football with the extra cup games, with the Champions League format being longer, all that. Convince him he's going to play some football. Give Gabby the rest he needs. Sign a right-footed defender because Tommy, White, and Timber all have fitness concerns. We now see Saliba's not even able to end the season. Get a right-footed centre-back because that's where the pains are. Left side, the left-footed defenders, we are beyond covered. Please do not sign another left-sided centre-back. We don't need it. We're good there. That's the side to focus on.
What do you give him?
8. That's great, James. But your rating?
Yeah, I mean, I was leaning towards a 7. We'll just make it an 8, just so it makes sense, because 7, 8, not much between it. And I think when you take the context that he came in, he had to do a job. The person he's filling in for, as we've seen from the ratings, one of our most important players, he gets a goal and he gets quality performances. I think similar to last season when he stepped in at left back, when we needed him to step in at left back, he did his thing. And he did his thing again, and that's what I asked for from the fringe defenders, from the defenders that don't get enough game time. I'd like Arteta to mix it up more. Like, for example, I think Man United, FA Cup or whatever it is moving forward, Kiwior should be starting those games. I think he's done enough now across 2 seasons to trust him a bit more. And I don't think we can afford losing many defenders this summer, if I'm honest with you, because we've got so much attack. Go and enjoy, man. Don't worry. Let's get the flirter in now since he's gone. Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey. Let's go into
and Martinelli's a 9. Oh, hey, Jordan. How good to see you, man. Thomas Partey. I'll give it an 8.
8 straight in.
Yeah, I think Partey. I think you got to commend the fitness. I didn't expect to get those minutes, and there's that amount of appearances from him. I think you can see while I think Rice is still a brilliant 6, and I think he's underrated on the ball. You can see what a Partey gives you in that position as a 6. And he's had, I think at the Etihad he was brilliant. I think was it Real Madrid? The 2 Real Madrid games, thought he was brilliant.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think fair play to him. I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, he's been one of our most consistent, one of our best players in my opinion. I'm going to give him an 8 as well. I mean, he's getting on, and his mobility at times, especially defending the transitions, I've looked at and I thought we need something else, but that something else is also on the pitch in Declan Rice. So I just also think tactically Arteta could have set up a bit better, maybe a double pivot to protect Partey a bit more with Rice's attributes and to give Rice a bit more with Partey's attributes. But it is what it is. I think probably consistently our best midfielder this season across the season. So yeah, 8 for me out of 10.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. All I've got to say is makes midfield look easy. It's not, but he makes it look easy. Fantastic season from this season. Really, really solid season from him.
And similar to what we said with Timber, I mean, different circumstance, but he had an injury-ridden season last season, and he stepped in this season, and in a season where, to be honest, I think last summer was about trying to find the next phase of the midfield without him. But he stepped in, and from the moment stepping in this season, he hasn't given no doubt to make a change in that position. Jordan,
I was really reluctant to fall into the trap of giving him a contract based off this season, because I think I said a couple of weeks ago he's missed a lot of football for Arsenal at his time at Arsenal. He's on big wages, and I was wondering, been a great year, but let him go. But I think he's earned a contract. I think this year he's earned an extension. I would give him a contract now. I'd give him an 8. I think he's been our best midfielder this season overall. I think up until January, he was our best player.
Yeah,
I think he was leading that race for Player of the Year for the first half of the season. I think second half of the season, Declan Rice has been our best player in the second half of the season. But up until the new year, Christmas, he was our best player, I think, by a mile. Him and Gabriel were were well ahead. So it's an 8 from me. I just think he's brilliant. I think he's still got something to offer. I think if Thomas Partey becomes your bench midfielder, you're doing pretty well. You're doing pretty well. If Thomas Partey is your guy that plays the cup games and comes on in Premier League games to see games out, you've got a strong squad. So 8 for me, and I would keep him.
8 again, so it's 8s across the board. So that one's an easy one. Over to Declan Rice.
I'll start because it's super quick. Second half of the season's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
but I think he started slow, and I think that's been a little forgotten. Though I don't think that's his fault. I'll give him an 8. And the moments, the winner against Newcastle, just some of the goals he scored in general, but in particular Real Madrid and his performances at the Bernabeu, those go down as like. Actually, is this too unfair a statement? I think those are historic performances from him. I wish they amounted to something, but Declan Rice stepping up on that pitch on a pitch with Ødegaard, Partey, Jude Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni at one point, and he came out as the guy, Luka Modric at one point. 8 for me, but yeah.
James, you couldn't sum it up better. Again, 8 out of 10 for me, but he's from January to now, I think he's been incredible. He's just an incredible player. I think he's adding more to his game with goals and all that. But I felt with this season he didn't have enough rest, and he was struggling in a few games fitness wise. But once he's got up to speed, there's no one near him. There's no one near him, and he proved that in the Champions League. I felt we missed his energy in the game against PSG. If he'd have played in that role there, I think it could have been different for us. Look, listen, he's Arsenal's best player in my opinion. I can't speak highly enough of him. He's had 2 bad games for Arsenal in his whole career at Arsenal so far. Funny enough, both against West Ham at home, where I would say that he's not been quite at it. But other than that, no one talks about the 100 million. No one talks about has he been a good sign for Arsenal. I just think he's been incredible. Incredible. Everything. And another one that gets the fans. He knows exactly how to play the fans. He can't speak highly enough of him.
It's a hard one because I think in the first 4 months of the season, I think he was really poor. I think we're looking at like a 3-4 out of 10 for that first third of the season. But then that's then balanced out by second half of the season. You're looking at a 9, even 10 out of 10. So I would give Declan Rice. I'd give him a high 7. So I'd give him an 8 because I think that those 2 free kicks for Arsenal, forget the football, just from a fandom point of view, they will go down in Arsenal fandom's memory as same as the Wiltord goal at Old Trafford, the Tony Adams goal at Highbury against Everton, what other iconic goals we've scored, Thierry Henry against Leeds. Those 2 free kicks will go down in the canon of iconic Arsenal moments. And I think for him to have that and to give me and you guys as fans those moments in a win against Real Madrid, I think that for me elevates it to definitely an 8. But I can't forget the first third of the season. And again, I don't blame him for that poor period. I think he was tired. He's played a lot of football, like Saka. You factor in England games. He plays every England game. So the guy was knackered. So I don't blame him. He had the toe injury as well. It's an 8.
I was coming in with a 6-7, if I'm honest with you. I'm gonna say 7, just because I expect more. I agree. Second half of the season, he did step it up. Or you got the Real Madrid performances there, but I also think in the league, as much as he stepped it up, I just want a bit more. And I don't know whether that's on Mikel or that's on him. I don't like him as close to the final third as he has been over the last 12 months, 18 months. I think that plays into it for me because from that position, I need a bit more technical quality. Maybe it's because I'm not getting it from Odegaard either. So I'm also looking at that side of the pitch, but that's not his
guile,
fault,
isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of guile. Yeah,
a bit more flair and guile, and I kind of I get that.
I'm gonna say 7. I'm gonna say 7. I mean,
his numbers are good. His numbers are good, and he is scoring goals that I go, you know what, a proper whoever I want in that 10, left 8, whatever, is actually scoring the kind of goals I'd want Rice to score.
Yeah, but I still, even though, because I'm not saying his numbers are bad, I think his numbers are surprisingly good. But I still think Rice's best position is to accommodate for someone in that position rather than be the player in that position. Again, nothing on him.
Is he the best corner taker in the world? I say that facetiously, but oh my word! At one point, wizardry, some of that. But actually, it's set piece delivery. The Merino goal against Liverpool from the free kick, that delivery was unbelievable as well. Is from a dead ball. I didn't know he had that in him, and it's not just direct free kicks we saw against Real Madrid. That
I think just on one final thing for me on Rice, I think that his positioning is probably the single most important decision that Arteta's got to work out this summer. He got to lock down, are you a 6 or are you an 8? And he's actually convinced me that he actually could be a genuine 8. I think he could be an 8. He's a good finisher. He can get forward, late runs into the box. There's goals there. But if he's going to be an 8, I need 10 Premier League goals. If you're going to be an 8, I need 10 Premier League goals next season. I think it's better.
How many is he on?
I think as a 6, he's still better
4.
in the Prem.
Oh, I actually thought it was better than that. Okay.
I'm saying not overall. I'm saying Prem.
Yeah,
In the Prem,
yeah.
I need between 8 and 10 as an 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Late
4, 7 assists. I mean, it's not bad, but I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think you got to work out where's he playing, and then you almost play everybody else in midfield around him. Work out what he's doing, and then you fit Zubimendi in, Partey, Odegaard, whoever's going to be around that. But we've got to work out what his role is next season.
All right, couple midfielders left. Merino.
I'll go first. Sorry, I will give Merino I'll give him a.
You're about to say it.
Yeah. I'll give him a 7, but I feel like it's a 6. But I'll give him a 7 because he's been thrown into position for a large chunk at the pressure end of the season that isn't his fault. It's not his fault he's been thrown up front. And let's have it right. He's done all right. He's done all right. As a striker, he's not done bad. I'll give him a high 6, 7, because I think he's adapted well. I think he scored some big goals, even from midfield this season. But again, I still think, a bit like Rice, we've got to work out what we're doing with him. He's a good player. I've always thought he's a good player, but there's been too many performances in midfield where I don't know what exactly he's meant to be doing. And as a squad player, that's fine. But he's not been a squad player. He's actually been a starter for a large chunk of the back end of the season. So, yeah, I'll give him a 7.
I think he was signed to be a starter. I felt that the 30 million and all that, I think there was a feeling amongst all of us that he is going to be in that first 11. And while he's not done enough in midfield to convince me of that, he's also been better than I think people have given him credit for in midfield. And then up front, he did more of a job than I expected. So I give it a 6.
For me, 3 out of 10 until he went up front. I think that from January onwards, I think he was definitely a miss before that. I think he's been brilliant. I think the goals give him the confidence. And when he's dropped back into midfield, I think his midfield performances have been pretty good. I liked his performance against Liverpool, even though he got sent off. I like the way he put himself about and everything like that. He's better on the ball than what he was at the beginning of the season. I just think the confidence of playing up front and giving him a specific role has benefited from him. I think he's been brilliant since January. So from really being like a failure, I think he's been a success, and I think that's credit to him. 7 out of 10 for me.
5 for me. Yeah, I can't forget that his midfield performances at times have been dreadful, and that's what he is, a midfielder. I know it's worked out for him up top, but that's not his future either. So I still haven't seen enough from him in midfield to think that he's actually added anything to our midfield. Next season, I'd probably prefer to see him as a backup striker option than I would someone starting in midfield, which kind of tells the story. And he's 28. He's signed as an experience. He signed as someone that a couple of years ago I said that's someone to look at. So, there's no agenda here. I wanted him to work out because I would have been like, 2 years ago, I said, bring him in. I would have loved for that to happen. But I just think first half of the season, dreadful, in my honest opinion, in overall impact. Yes, the shoulder injury played a part. Second half of the season, made up for it, found a place in the squad, in my opinion. Some beautiful finishes. And maybe it's a 6 because of it, but I'm gonna keep it at 5. I'm going to keep it at 5. So Lee's gone 7, Jordan's gone 7, James has gone 6, I've gone 5, so I'll just work out the average. Odegaard.
I don't want to spend too much time on it because I just don't want to be so on him, but it's a 3. From the injury to the months he missed to then the performances we got when he came back. I think there's still a brilliant footballer there, and I look forward to seeing that next season. I'm backing him, but bad season.
Yeah, he's just had a bad season. One to forget, boys. One to forget. Injury didn't help. Come back, worked hard, but it just hasn't happened for him.
What did you give him, Lee?
I'm with James. I'm sorry. I'm 3 out of 10. It's just, like his standards are very, very high. You have to bring it. you've got to bring that into a thing when you're saying about certain players like Saliba and all that. Like, but his standard has dropped. Listen, no fault of his own. He's just had a poor season. I don't really want to slag him off on that. It's just not been there. It's just been a poor season. What can you say? You can't defend it. You can't defend it, can you?
3-3, Jordan.
3.
And no comment. I mean, you lot are making me look bad again because I'm just gonna say 2. I can't, and even that, I'm just trying to be nice. Huh?
Nothing in it between 2 or 3, really.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a 1. If I'm honest with you, it could be a 1. But I'm just gonna say 2 and keep it moving. So 3s and 2s are lowest.
Sorry, I don't think it's a. I think 2 is slightly harsh. I think when you're giving people 1s and 2s, you're going beyond bad performances. You're going into the realms then of people that are maybe down tools or chucked it in. I don't think he's chucked it in. I think his performances have been very, very bad. 1s and 2s is you've actually been unprofessional. I wouldn't put him in that category. I just think he's been very, very poor. So yeah, I think 1s and 2s is you need to kind of be sold because you've let the club down, the fan base down. But he's not tried. He's not chucked it in. We've had players before that have chucked it in, clearly chucked it in. It's like, why are you here? I don't think Odegaard's in that category. I just think over the course of a season, his performances have been very, very, very poor, not good enough, and unacceptable in terms of output. 1 and 2 is.
I see him pull out too many 50-50s. I've seen him run behind 4 players when the fucking goal is there and it's time to. That to me is abandoning duty. That to me is hiding. That to me is also part of what you're saying in a different manner. So for me, I'm saying 2, but there's 3s there, so it's gonna land around the 2.5, 2.75, whatever. And it is what it is. Just keep it moving. Wings now, I guess. Let's start with Saka, injured for 3-4 months of the season. Still one of our players with the most output across the board. Probably our best attacking player this season, even with the 3 months out. Who wants to kick us off with a rating?
All right, 7 out of 10. He's like come back from injury. Has been remarkable. I think before he was playing unbelievably well. 4 months out. Cost us big time. I remember me and Jordan were at that Crystal Palace game. We won 5-1 and we weren't happy, basically because we knew our season was done that day. You know what I mean? That's how good he is. And to be out for all of that time, I think also coming back nowhere near fit and still contributing is just admiration for him as what he is as a player. But you know, his standards are so high again. I've got to say that, like, you know, that's why I'm going to go for a 7. But you know, I want to see him have a nice long. I don't really want to see him playing for England in the next.
These ridiculous games we've got coming up. Don't even get me started.
I just want to see him have a nice break now, come back strong for us next season, and a fit Saka and a Saka fit for the whole season is different for us. I can tell you that to where we are now.
I think you're a special player when your levels don't drop despite everyone else's around you dropping. I think he's our best player, and I don't think I would have said that a year or 2 ago. I'd have had him up there, but I think he's our best player. I think if he was judged purely on the football he did play, I think he's a 9 or a 10. I think if he'd actually stayed fit, he's a 9 or a 10 because of a bit like Gabriel missing key parts or whatever. I'd give him an 8. But weirdly, the reason it's not like a 7 or anything is because I think you could see everything fell apart when he wasn't there. We had the FA Cup, we had the Carabao Cup, and we were still somewhat within touching distance. Not touching distance, but there was a chase. And everything fell apart till he came back. And then suddenly we could do something in the Champions League again. So weirdly, I think his stock went even higher with his injury. Whereas Gabriel, as amazing as he was, who went, to be fair, Kiwior did great. With Saka, there was just no solution. Waneri, well done to you, my friend, stepped up at 17 and actually made that void not feel so big. But I think this is one of the best wingers in the world, maybe forwards in the world, maybe players. I think he's going to hit mega numbers, whether it's next season or the season after. I really think the sky's the limit for this guy. How did we have such a bad season? Sorry, how did we finish second and trophyless and miles off Liverpool with everything I'm saying about these players, for God's sake? I mean, what does that say about... Are we doing a manager rating at the end? We should.
Yeah.
I think we should, because because it's so... Any neutral watchers to go, so why did you have such a bad season? And rightly so. But yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, love
so did you say 7?
I said 8.
8.
It's still because of the numbers, you know. To miss that much time and your output still be that high across all comps.
I'm saying 7. I agree with Lee. He had 10 assists, I think 11, 12 games in, so he was on course to be up there in terms of assist record potentially, but the injury came back. That Real goal after that Real penalty horror showed a good character mentality, and overall definitely our best attacker. I'll stop short of saying best player maybe because it's Saliba as well, Gabriel as well, but definitely our best attacker.
For me, it's a 7 because Lee used the word earlier on, contributes. Even when he doesn't score the goal or get the assist, he always contributes something. He's always a threat. I can think of maybe less than a handful, 3 or 4 games Saka's played where he's been anonymous. He's genuinely done nothing. 3 or 4, I'm talking like, and I'm being kind there. And that for me is a good player. Even when you're not the guy, you still do something. There's something that you do that contributes. I agree. I don't think he's our best player, but he's definitely our best attacker. I think the reliance on him because of him on the other side is just, it makes what he's expected to do even more highly pressurized. There's more expectation on him. He scored some big goals, but also I like the way that he's evolving. I like Saka's. He's growing as a man, as a young man. He's biting back at referees. He's swearing a lot more on the pitch now. You know, he feels like this is my team. I'm the guy who's carrying this team, and he's coming into a guy that has a little bit of swag, the celebrations and all that. I'm liking the guy that he's evolving into without compromising who he is. He's never going to be a prick. He's never going to be a nasty person or something that he's not. But equally recognizes that I'm not the kid Saka coming through anymore. I'm a guy that on the world scene, man, know about me. Yeah. So it's, you know what I mean? I'm going to carry myself accordingly. So I'm not only going to give him a rating for his performance on the pitch, but also because the guy that he's evolving into, I'm liking it. So for me, it's a 7.
7, 7, 7, and 8 from James. Cool.
Yeah, it's a 7.
Yeah.
2 overall.
Yeah. Cool. Nwaneri? I'll say 7.
I'm with you, 7.
Congratulations to him, man. 17 years old.
Yeah,
you
that's
had the fan
big
base
thing.
wanting you playing this much. And let's not forget, it made a difference when he came on against Leicester, helped us win that game. He injected something, got the great goal against Man City, scored a brilliant goal in Eindhoven in that brilliant win. Numbers diminished towards the end in terms of minutes and stuff, but I think that's to be expected. You know, his numbers this year are quite good. Let me just say, well, you guys go ahead. I want to get his numbers up for the season.
Champions League goal, scored in the Champions League, didn't he? Against
a couple of great ones. Girona,
So yeah, for me, look, listen, I think people go, I should have had more minutes and all that, and I think I'm one of those. But then reality check, 17 when he started this season, only just turned 18. So be playing in the Premier League and doing what he's doing, I think there's lots more to come from him.
9 goals in all competitions.
Yeah, that's quite. That's a great.
That's really, really pretty impressive. 4 in the league, 2 in the Champions League, 3 in the Carabao Cup. 9 goals and 2 assists. Fair play to you, but it's embarrassing for some other players in the squad, may I say.
I've marked some players down before because of games they haven't played. Gabriel and Lewis Skelly, so I've got to be consistent. He's not played a lot of games this season, so that's got to be, he's not been like a mainstay of the team, but those numbers are impressive for a 7. He's younger than Lewis Skelly. Do you know what I mean? Those numbers are impressive. He's always been a threat. I like the way I've commented before, I'm repeating myself, but I like the confidence that him and Lewis Skelly have, but they're very confident. They're confident in very different ways. He seems like a very reserved, like, I'm not looking for attention out here. I'm not looking to kind of people looking at me. I know what I can do. You know what I can do. So let me do what I do. And he does it very, very well. To come in and replace Odegaard and then Saka, those are our two biggest creative threats. And for him to do that, and impress pretty much every single time is a testament to him. We've got a talent. We've got a talent on our hands there. We need to nurture it. Don't burn him out. Don't rinse him. But I want to see him featuring quite a lot next season as well. So I'll give him a 7 as well.
Can I jump in quick? So these numbers stagger me, but actually it makes sense. He's actually played 36 games this season in all comps. 25 of them in the league. If I had to guess, I'd have said 15 maybe.
Yeah, same.
He's played 25, but your point is absolutely spot on, Jordan. He's played 800 minutes. Now, for context, Gabriel and Saka rack up maybe 35 games a season, and they're near 3,000 minutes. This guy's played 25 games, not even hit the 1,000 mark. So he just hasn't simply had the minutes, but you can see there's an exposure there to the first team beyond what I actually expected this season. At the same time, I kind of think he could have played more at times. So it's a difficult one, but yeah, fair play to him.
And one thing I will say, it's a lot harder up front than it is in midfield and defence. You know what I mean? Like to make your mark. You know what I mean? At 17 and coming and doing what he's doing. That's fantastic numbers. Fantastic.
Quality player. And I think he's probably the player, in my opinion, that has the most knock-on effect to Arteta's rating. Because I don't like how Arteta's managed him this year, if I'm honest with you. I know a lot of people are trying to praise Mikel for it and whatnot, but please miss me with that shit, because we've had about 7-8 Premier League games that have meant absolutely nothing, and it could have meant the world to an Ethan Nwaneri. 90 minutes week in, week out in games that don't mean much, but are at the highest level of domestic competition, and it would have primed him better for next season. And I look at Arteta and I think, why? Only thing I could say is maybe assume that, Nwaneri's still raw and doesn't follow every stringent instruction needed for these modern day system-based managers. So saying that, I'm going to say a 7 as well. Did we all go 7?
Yeah.
7s across the board. Obviously, the internet won't have the context we're applying here. They'll just see the ratings and say, oh my God, you gave Nwaneri 7 and you also gave Saka 7 and you gave Rice a 7. Like, what's going on? But watch the show, people. And I'm saying watch the show, people. I'm talking to the people that are looking at the pictures on socials now. 4 players to go and a manager. Martinelli.
Ooh.
I don't have a lot to say on these other players. I'll be so honest.
I do.
I'll give Martinelli a 6.
Yeah, I'm with you, James.
I think better than some on this pod have given him credit for. Sorry, I was talking about Turkish. Yeah, I don't think he's been that bad on the ball, although I think we expect more. I think he's quite clearly a squad player. I think that's his level. The work rate, I know everyone tells me to shut the hell up about it, but I won't, because I think it's beyond anything I see from most players. I think the demands on him are beyond anything I see from most players, especially forwards. And he leaves it out there every single time, and he's available, and he gets himself fit, and he gets on that pitch, and he plays every minute, right, left, wherever he's asked. And I've got nothing but admiration for how much the guy's trying to make it happen. But I think there's just a quality dip that's not quite there for me. And I think he could make a great squad player, but I'm sort of past him as a starter. So it's a 5 or a 6, but I lean towards a 6.
I'm with you, James. Exactly agree with you. The only thing that I just think that Arteta could just do a little bit more with him as well, make him a bit.
I agree.
I think that he stuns him a little bit with what the tactics and everything. But I'll agree.
5.
I'll go last.
Yeah, 5 for me. If he was sold this summer, I wouldn't mind. If he was on the bench next season, I wouldn't mind. But we need more. And, his numbers ain't bad. But at the same time, I'm not about to push his rating up for applying himself, when I think applying yourself should be a given. It's not. So he deserves credit for it. But, yeah, I need more. So 5 average at best.
Yeah, I think when the first thing people say about you as a winger is defensively, you're really diligent and disciplined, and your output and work rate is always up there, slightly concerning. However, James a couple of weeks ago did really, as he always does, articulate the responsibilities that the flirter has, right? And there are a lot. He's been asked to do a lot of things. And I've not been impressed by his performances this season at all. But I don't, and I'll say this for the final time, I don't entirely put that all down to him. I think, and we'll get to Arteta in a minute, I think Arteta's got a role to play in the stunting of him. However, there are still things that even in a system, in a structure, the flirter could do better that he doesn't do. He doesn't beat anybody anymore. I genuinely don't feel like right backs are fearful of him anymore in the way they were 2 years ago. I don't think they're scared of him. I think that they're not scared of him. I can think of a handful of games this season where he's played well and impressed me, and a handful's not good enough, even with the injury. So for me, it's a 4. It's a 4 for me. I don't think he's been good at all. And I think people massively praise him for things, even on the ball, that I just won't be praising. He looked busy. He was a threat. And I'm just not seeing it. So it's a 4 for me.
4, 5, 2 6s, lands on 5. Trossard.
Do you know he's being offered a new contract? Sammy Mockbell says they're close to a new deal for Trossard.
Oh, man, that's going to piss me off.
And I don't really get this one. I've got to be honest. What's his contract situation? When does it expire? Does anyone know?
One year.
That's really bad.
I mean, it's just time to sell, isn't it? I mean, and by the way, I really like Trossard, guys. Good signing, 27 million, squad player, stepped up when others didn't at times. And
you know what that says?
Like him.
Sorry, that says we're buying only one attacker this summer. That says we're only buying one striker this summer.
More for them.
Unless know if it does. Do you think it definitely does?
Well, okay, so if they keep the flirter, which there's rumors that he may go, but let's say they keep him, that's the flirter, Trossard, Saka, Jesus, Havertz, and you assume they're going to buy Ranieri, and you assume they're going to buy a striker.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? I mean, I think what I would say to that is if you moved one area into a midfield position in the squad and you assume Jesus isn't around till January, I would argue there's still space for one more, but I hear you. I also don't want one area to be looked at as a midfielder. I want him to be looked at as a forward, and I think we need a creative player in there too. This is such a tangent. I think Arsenal will sign a striker, and I think the left winger will be if something comes up that they think is worth doing. By the way, I think that would be shambolic, but I think that's almost how they're going to look at it. But anyway, Trossard, decent season. 5.
I think he's done. I'm going to give him a 7 because I think he is what he is as a squad player. He's come in and he's been reliable. He's worked hard. He's done things for us this season. It's not been easy with the injuries and all that around that, but he is what he is, and that is a squad
goals, isn't he?
He scored some important goals for us.
His numbers
come off the bench and done well for us. Come on against PSG in the second leg, looked sharp, looked lively. He's never going to be someone that's going to how can I say it without being horrible? If Trossard's starting, then we're short. He's not. Do you know what I'm saying? We've got a couple of injuries if he's starting, but when he comes on and when he starts, and that, he does all right. I think for what the job that he's done well this season. 7 out of 10 for me.
I just looked at his numbers quick: 8 goals and 7 assists in the league. But then he has played 37 games in 2,500 minutes. I mean, he's played big minutes. That's 10 and 9 in all comps. He feels like one of the players we can rely on for output. Is the one thing I'll say.
4.
Who just said that? Turkish? Did you say 4?
Me.
No,
Jordan said 4. What did I say? 5. So we've got a 7, a 5, and a 4. Yeah, okay. Turkish. Wow, this is a big one. What are you going for?
I'm going for 5 as well.
What was that set? It kind of settles it on a 5, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm going 5. I mean, not happy with the new contract talks. If it was me, I'd sell Martinelli, who retains the value at this moment, and I'd let Trossard run down his year because that left-hand side needs a revamp. And I think you bring a Rodrigo in, you let Martinelli go this summer, you let Trossard run it down, and then bring in a young potential behind Rodrigo next summer. It kind of lines it up nicely. The next thing I'm going to hear is we'll retain in value by giving Trossard a new contract.
What's all this Rodrigo stuff? And I've not been that impressed with him, to be honest.
He's a very good player.
I'm with Lee a little bit in the sense of he's a brilliant player. I'm not sure he's as good as everybody else tells me he is. So I'm a little bit I'm a bit on the fence with Rodrigo. I won't lie.
Every time I've watched him, I've seen things. Dare I say, he's a bit of a flirter.
Oh no!
I want to let people know now. Lee and the Martinelli family, they're like this. Yeah, just so you lot know out there. Middle name Martinelli, but yeah, that's it. I've taken Jesus off the list, so there's one player to go, and it's player. Yeah,
King Kai,
6 out of 10.
You're lying.
Do you know what's mad?
You're going to give him 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I thought he was doing all right at the beginning of the season. I don't think he's been, the injury.
You're going to give him 6 with the misses against Man United to get us knocked out the FA Cup. With the misses against Newcastle, you're going to give this guy. Let me go toilet.
You know what I was going to say, Lee? I can't actually remember how well he was before Christmas. I genuinely can't remember how good he was. But Turkish reminded me a couple of things there.
How many goals he's got? I think he's our top goal scorer, and I mean? So
Lee, I actually agree. I thought he started the season really well. Genuinely, I thought he picked up where he left off. He scored against PSG. He scored a big goal against Southampton when we needed it. And I thought this was someone who I thought he played really well at the Etihad. I thought he played really well at Tottenham away. But I think he fell off a cliff really after that. And he's got, again, he's actually got 15 goals in all comps.
Right, so how can you be? 6 out of 10 for that.
I'll give it a 4 because I actually think his finishing's been pretty woeful.
Yeah, I hear what Turkish is saying. He has missed some gilt-edged chances and all that.
Don't bottle it now, judges.
No, I'm sticking with the 15 goals.
I hear what Turkish is saying. I'll give it a 2. He's done all right. But I'll give it a 2.
But injured, and I do think Arsenal would have done a little bit better with him in the team at the back end of this season. I do think that.
Lee, 70 minutes on the clock. It's November. We are away to Manchester City. We are struggling to break them down. We've decided to start putting balls into the box. Our new striker, Gyökeres, is not getting a sniff. We bring on someone to cross the ball in. What player do you want in the box, Merino or Havertz? That's it. The fact you have to think right off. Right off.
That's a good question. I think
that's a question. It's a shit question.
No, Marino's heading ability is up there with he's top notch. But we're not talking about headers. I'm talking about overall play and touches and bringing in players and all that. I'd bring them both on.
Yeah, look at you.
I still think Havertz has got a role to play in this team. I do.
Yeah. Are you sticking with 6? Are you sticking with 6?
Yes.
Who else? I'm doing mine last, so I can bring down this score because the Forever Arsenal reputation is on the line here. So who's next?
I said 4.
Okay, so we're at a 5 right now. If we averaged those two out, what are you saying, Jordan?
It's a 5.
Oh my god, I'm giving it a 2. So that's it.
The only reason
you've not met his mum and dad, then, you know what I mean? Is that what we're saying?
Nor do I want to, mate. Yeah, so pass the invite on to someone else if it comes.
It's probably a good idea. I'm only giving him a 5, which is average, because what is it, James? Is it what's his? Was it 15 goals, James?
15 goals. And
15 goals across commentators. That's not awful.
35 games.
But his finishing has been absolutely
one.
Oh wow.
1. I'm giving a 1 because I just remember he's the highest paid player. Disgrace. 1. 1.
Turkish, genuine question. I'm actually curious. What did you rate his first season, 23-24? Or what would you rate? Like what?
First season, I would have said 6.5. Maybe 7. Yeah, maybe close to that, but that first half.
I was just curious. Yeah. All right, fair. Yeah, it's good to have him back, Kai.
Oh, fucking hell. You know what? This average is still not working out nicely, man.
I genuinely think he could play a part in the squad. I think he'll be a player we bring on in games who can start. I don't think Arsenal win the league with him in the first 11, in my opinion. And I know we got close to it. I know, but we didn't. And I know we got 89 points. I know, but I just think ultimately, I think he actually be a very good squad player for us. So that's where I am with him.
Yeah, squad players don't often cost 300k a week. That's the only problem.
My friend, it ain't coming out my bank account. but
Yeah.
I agree.
Kind of is.
Yeah. Shh, move on.
All right, last but not least, because I'm looking at these ratings across the board, and there's a few 8s, there's 8.5, there's 7.5s, and we finished second, nearly 20 points off, out of the FA Cup first round, out of the Carabao Cup semi-finals, no goals. So Arteta.
Can I kick off? Because I think this is the most important rating of all of them, right? Because and I know we're nearly an hour and a half into the pod, but we should spend a little bit of time on this because he's the most important figure, if you like. I put a case forward for him getting a higher rating in that he's managed to finish second, albeit maybe by default in what's been a poor Premier League season. The stats show he has finished second again. He's gone one better in Europe, overcoming, again, albeit not the greatest Real Madrid team, but the stats don't lie. He's knocked out Real Madrid comfortably, I would say, over 2 legs. He's brought through Ranieri and Lewis Skelly. I think he's used the likes of Kiwior and Merino as squad players relatively well. And I think there's certain games this season where I think he's tactically shown he's a very, very good manager. However, the case against would be his cup record again is not good enough. I can't get over the Man United defeat. That for me is the biggest blot on the season. That is unforgivable. You don't lose to Manchester United, who Spurs just beaten, at home with 10 men. You don't. That just can't happen, right? The 2 games against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup semi-final, they were better than us in both legs. Let's have it right. We weren't unlucky. They were better than us in both legs. His management of players has caused him to have the injuries that we've had. Saka, Saliba now, Gabriel, Havertz. These are all injuries because of the amount of workload he's putting on those particular individuals. That's on him. I don't buy this when I hear content creators saying, oh yeah, but after injuries. No, same with Spurs. I don't buy that with them. A lot of those injuries for me are self-inflicted. That's on his watch. I don't know if in January how much say he had in what could have come in or what couldn't have come in, but the fact is he didn't get anything in, and as Lee has said on many occasions, that's when our title chances probably died. So I would give him, factoring all that in the pot where the club currently is, we're in a good position. We're just not good enough to win a title. I would overall I'd give him a 7. I don't think it's been outstanding. I don't think it's been excellent, but I think it's been above average.
7.
I think I'd give him a 7. Yeah.
Let me go next. I think he came into the season with a light squad and confirmed that was one of his wishes, regardless of what people want to say about Edu and the club and whatnot. He confirmed that out of his mouth. Don't think he utilized Ranieri as much as he should have, and I think as the season progressed, we saw more and more evidence of that 88th, 89th minute coming on when we need something in attack. I mean, that's, his substitutions. They haven't been proactive enough. The handbrake's more on now than it was ever. When the old car, you used to pull the handbrake up, because they're a bit older, sometimes you have to pull it up more. That's what he feels like. He feels like he done this season. The handbrake's up, but there's a risk of it rolling. Let me make sure that really goes up. I think MLS fell into his hand. I mean, if you use that to praise him, then why did we buy Calafiori? If you knew that we have such a talent there, then we could have utilized that money better elsewhere. Cups, dreadful. As great as Real Madrid was, I think Man United was nearly as deflating as Real Madrid was exhilarating. And in interviews, he's been quite contradictory and hypocritical at times this season. So my rating for him is a 2 out of 10.
So before James and Lee come in, so I will change my rating. Sorry, I'll bring it down to a 6 because this was the season he had to win a trophy. I think next year it's got to be one of the big 2. But this was the year he had to win a trophy. I said at the start of the season on the podcast, he's got to win a trophy. and he didn't win a trophy. So I'll bring it down to a 6. No trophies is not good enough. So I'll give it a 6.
I agree with so much of what Turkish has said there. I'll give it a 3. And then do you know what? And actually, to a degree, I do think there's credit in. There is some credit in for everything that's gone on with the injuries and the situation, the small squad. You've actually finished second and competed in 2 competitions. However, I don't know. I still wonder how much of it is his fault. No, I can't get out of my head that the 3 players that had hamstring surgery in Havertz, Gabriel, and Saka are the 3 players that have played the most football over the last 2-3 years. I know some of that was at Chelsea for Kai Havertz. That doesn't surprise me. Or maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. I haven't liked the style of football. I agree some of the stuff that's been said in press conferences, whether it be, I think you referenced this when we were recording yesterday, Turkish, whether it be, I don't compare ourselves to other teams, when literally the week before you were comparing our points tally to Liverpool and the situation it takes to win the league. He was saying, have I said no to a strike? He got quite, prickly with a journalist. But literally 2 weeks before, Charles Watts was saying, you say that we've scored all these goals as a calendar year, but if you look at these numbers, that suggests that there's a longer term problem. So there's been a contradiction there. There's, I'm super happy with the squad, but then I need all these players. It's been tricky for me. I don't know why in the absence of Ødegaard, Waneri wasn't used, but then in the absence of Saka, Waneri was the go-to. I've just been confused by a lot of it. But the big things for me is ultimately, have we underachieved in our goals? Yes. What are the reasons? Injury and squad size. I think a lot of that can fall on Arteta. We give him credit when he gets the players in. We've got to look at him too as the manager when we don't get players in. It's not just about the people upstairs. And ultimately, have I been entertained? Absolutely not. Because Arsenal finished second last season, the season before. Forget points tallies and all that. We just really enjoyed what we were watching so much more. I think this is a brilliant manager. He's come down again. I think he's a brilliant manager who's going to get there, by the way. I still think that delusionally. But I've been really disappointed this season.
Listen, 4 out of 10 for me. And the reason I've gone a little bit higher than what probably you guys have is that I think you have to give a man credit for managing a team without a striker and getting results. I don't.
He's the reason, Lee, isn't he? Isn't he part of the reason we don't have a striker? Not the reason. One of them.
At the end of the day, whether he was given the reason or not, in January, he still had to coach a team to get results without a striker, and I think that's underestimated how difficult that is. Like, you know what I mean, to not have a striker for the whole season. So I'll give him credit for that. But for every other, I think he's failed on every other aspect of it this season. I think his management has been poor at times. Press conference has been embarrassing. I also think the entertainment value. We had a discussion yesterday when we've come away saying that we've only been entertained in 2 games at the Emirates this season. Real Madrid and Man City, maybe Nottingham Forest as well. For the money that we pay to say that you have 3 games where you've been entertained. You know, I think you have to blame him that there was a change of style. That's down to him. There was, you know what I mean? Like, from what we have been in the last couple of seasons to this season. And I just think that, you know, like, can you blame him or can you blame the players? The Newcastle performances in the League Cup were shocking. Absolutely shocking. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we should be like heading towards the final there, really. Look, credit to Newcastle. I thought they was outstanding. But I didn't like it that another manager out-tactic us, out-fought us. And then I look at the FA Cup game against Man United. That,
it's unforgivable.
Unforgivable. Like that was, as you know, 10 men, extra time, shocking performance. And if I'll be really honest about it, guys, as I said earlier on, the Champions League has covered up 1,000 sins of this season for me. And we never challenged on 2 fronts, in my opinion. I don't think we ever put in a title challenge this season. We're up there, but we've never been realistically anywhere near a title challenge this season. So it's been a disappointing season. It's been a hard season. Like after a couple of really, really good seasons and things to look forward to, this has been the one where I've been
bit of a slog. This one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a battle. It's been a slog, you know, and there needs to be some big things happening next season, and that I mean in players. Otherwise, the manager's going to be coming under the pressure where something's got to give. You know what I mean? We've got to look and get over the line next season. And at this moment in time, it doesn't look like, if I'll be really honest, he's the man to do that. So he's got to get in some players this season, and you know, I'm a lowest for being an Arsenal fan for a very, very long time. They've put me right up here and they've knocked me back this season. And it's not just Mikel that's done that; the club have done that. It's been a tough season. Like, not just watching Arsenal going to games, the ticket allocations, the way they do getting, the way that fans are being treated this season. I think, you know, it's been a real difficult one. And listen, Mikel is the one that you look for inspiration and lead from at times. And I think he's just let me down a little bit, especially with the press conferences at time. You know, I go back to, you know, we've gone out against Newcastle. I know what he's saying about the balls, but really, come on, you know, we've had to been battered about that. Then he goes and says, like, we're the team in Europe. Yeah, we wasn't, you know. Just little things like that, you know. Just be a little bit more.
Yeah, all plays a part.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys are right. James,
You got from 7 to 6 to 5 to 4.
No, it's a 5. It's a 5 because you guys are reminding me to my own kind of. I'm very big on style of play and enjoying what I'm watching. And this year, it's not being enjoyable watch. So on that, I'll give it a 5. It's been an average performance from him this season. Average.
They're all in. They are all in. I'm going to pass this on to socials and they can do what they like with it, probably post it up. So obviously the social side of AFTV will see it. But Forever Arsenal community, you've been watching 1 hour, 37 minutes. Who knew? Before game week 38 with nothing to play, we could deliver you a pod nearly 2 hours long. But here it is. Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Obviously, the prediction table looks like this. James is one more.
Do we do it? Yeah, fine.
I mean, you might as well. I mean, you might set a record that we might need to beat in a few years.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0 Arsenal. That's what I said on the preview.
2-0, Jordan.
3-0.
3-0, Lee.
I've said 2-0. I'll stick with that.
I'll go 3-0 then. Why not? Couple 2-0s, couple 3-0s. Doesn't mean anything anyway. James's star will be in place. It's not in place yet, is it? No, it'll be in place by the next.
I don't want it yet. No. You get the gold. You get the gold badge in the next season, don't you? So I'm happy to wait.
Okay, cool. Just collect your winnings this time round because there's.
Have you seen the kits coming out?
Or don't Turkish. You know what I mean?
It's nice this year, James. You know what I mean? This could be the year, mate.
Yeah, I'm liking that home kit. They've done a good job.
People, we're going to round it off there. I know we didn't do comments of the day, but we will be back with comments of the day after the Southampton game. I'm not too sure when we record after the Southampton. It's not going to be out Sunday night, Monday morning. We'll talk, subscribe, put a notification bell on. We'll talk here, but we'll also talk on the individual channels. Mr. Lee Judge's TV, Gooniverse and Gooniverse 2, Coolest Disabled, and Whisper It Loudly. That's Jordan's pods, and obviously Turkish LD and the Big Six. So if you can't find us here, find us there. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be back when we're back, and give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Love for the love, people. See you soon. Peace.